This is Chuck Schaefer of Customer.tv, and today I'm joined by Dennis Pombriant, Managing Director of Beagle Research. Dennis, along with CRM analyst Esteban Kolsky, recently completed a comprehensive research project and compiled a report titled Social Media 2012 State of Adoption. The purpose of our conversation today is to explore some of the research findings and better understand how social media adoption can influence business strategies. Welcome, Dennis, and thank you for joining me. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, Chuck. How are you? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. Dennis, let me start off. Your research finds that businesses now see the social media value proposition and use cases, and adoption has advanced from skunkworks projects to serious business implementations. What are the primary factors that have contributed to this evolution, and why are business leaders now adopting social media as part of their business strategies?
Well, Chuck, as you know, I've long advocated that for something to be adopted, there has to be a cost savings involved. And I think business leaders are seeing that. The way they're seeing that is that they're adopting products like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and they're using them primarily in a way that replaces older broadcast strategies like direct mail, direct email, things like that. And so they're finding that social media is a less expensive way to broadcast. I wouldn't say that that's the be all and end all of social media, but that provides the cost savings, and that gets people involved in trying to figure out what else social media is good for.
Dennis, what are the obstacles to succeeding with social strategies, and how should business leaders mitigate those challenges?
Well, Chuck, it's very interesting. What we saw in our research was that, typically when a new technology comes out, people are worried about, well, what's it going to cost? What's the IT ramification? Is IT going to be on our side? Are they going to resist it? That kind of thing. And in our research, that's not what we found. What we found was that C-level people were very enthusiastic about social. We found that line of business users were very enthusiastic. The people in the middle management layer, is enthusiastic, perhaps a little less so. The things that people are concerned with don't really have a lot to do with social per se. They are things like what are the legal implications, what are the cost implications, what are the security implications, things like that. And that, to me, says that the vendor community has some work to do explaining those things.
Your report found that the most popular social media adoption and use cases revolve primarily around outbound communication, where early social media adopters show an interest in telling and selling, but not in listening and analyzing. You aptly point out that listening and analyzing are two of the more important reasons for social media's existence and clear differentiators with older broadcast tools and methods, and without listening and analysis, social media becomes just a less costly approach to broadcast messaging, while the real power of the technology goes unrealized. Why are businesses speaking before they listen? And how do you recommend social adopters evolve from monologue communication broadcast to dialogues with social customers?
Well, I think it'll happen organically or naturally. I think it's not unusual to see that companies adopt new technology for old reasons. And I think if before social technology was available, if the vendor didn't talk, nobody would. It was a thin stream of information coming in from the user. Social changes that. Social technology gives us the ability to listen. However, the listening aspect of social isn't as well adopted yet. It's not as well built out yet. The fact that we see people using what are essentially personal social tools like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn as business tools suggests that we're in an early phase of a transition. And I think there are products on the market, products like Radian6 that do sentiment analysis. There's some very powerful sentiment analysis tools from SAS in North Carolina, for example. And I think over time we'll see more of those kinds of tools come to the fore. And when they do, companies will be able to take that mountain of data that they're bringing in that they don't know what to do with right now and analyze it and turn it into valuable IP for their companies.
Very interesting. You found that video is among the top social media, but at the same time has limited adoption. Why is video more slowly evolving, and do you think it offers a unique or superior medium and ROI for certain purposes and constituencies?
Oh yeah, video has a lot going for it. It is a little bit harder to make, and organizations are finding they have to bring in some talent, some expertise. They need to figure out how to do video without necessarily putting a talking head in front of the camera all the time. And video, once it's made, is for a specific purpose. But if you can build a library, the library can be very effective at getting your messages out 24/7 by 365. Video doesn't sleep. So what we're beginning to see is, and as you've seen, and I think everybody watching this will see, is that you can take a video, give it a short bit.ly link and stick it up on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere else, and then who knows what kind of traffic you're going to drive. You literally get tens of thousands of people clicking onto a message. Now, when you do that, there's a great ROI, and it's not hard to figure out. If you know how many videos you've got, how often they get hit, how many minutes people watch them for, typically about 2. You do that math and you discover that, hey, this video is acting as if it was a salesperson for me, and I'm not paying it.
Good points. Your research also found that social media tools are not just externally directed, and that organizations are deploying internal private social networks. What business benefits are organizations realizing from internal social networks?
Oh, well, internal social networks are enabling companies to be a lot more transparent from the bottom up as well as from the top down. I think internal social networks give managers the greater ability to manage by exception. We all try to manage by exception because there's only so much time and resource any of us has access to. But frequently we manage by exception by taking by dealing with the thing that screams the loudest. With internal social media or social networks, you have a greater ability to see what's happening at a more micro level and insert a bit of management or skill or expertise, whatever you want to call it, in the moment to fix something before it becomes a big issue. And so that adds to the transparency, and it also adds to the benefit that you see. It's an incremental benefit when it's done best.
If we look ahead at social media adoption within the enterprise, what should we expect to see over the next few years?
Good question. Well, I think the bridge isn't built yet. It's not fully built. I mean, you build a bridge from, both ends out to the middle and hope they meet. So there's a lot of build out that's still left to do. I think we've got a really good handle on sort of the last mile of communication. Some of the next things we expect to see are ways to knit some of the channels together. So we see a lot of interest in hubs right now, and we still need to see more work done on analytics. And I suspect we'll see more work in video. I think sometime in the next few years, we could see a social network that's completely based on video rather than text that we're used to now. I mean, after all, we evolved thumbs, but not to type. We evolved as speaking individuals, people who can look at each other and gauge things from non-spoken communications, like facial expressions and things like that. And I think as the hardware gets built out, we'll start to see video social networks. That's my bet.
Sounds like a relatively safe bet for where we see things moving. And with that response, I think we're at a good break point to conclude our conversation. This is Chuck Schaefer, and today I've been joined by Dennis Pombriant, Managing Director of Beagle Research. Dennis, thank you for joining me and sharing some of the many research discoveries and insights from your report, Social Media 2012 State of Adoption.
Thanks a lot, Chuck.